Hello and welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. I'm just going to fill in the numbers that we brought forward from the last grid for this final installment of Ashish Kumar's linked Sudokus, his set of even puzzles. So there we go, those are the digits you'll need if you're going to try the puzzle. Now, what's been going on for the last 4 days of bonus content, or the last 3 and today, we've been looking at a series of linked Sudokus in which each puzzle has had some grey cells which have to contain even digits, as well as normal Sudoku rules applying, and each day there have been some circled cells that carried forward into the next grid to make that solvable. So I'm going to have a go at this puzzle. It's exactly the same, even Sudoku, with the grey cells being even. All of the other cells could be anything. And then I'm going to explain what's going on here as well. There's a little bit of an extra reason why I've been presenting it without the digits already pre-filled for you. So I'm going to have a go at the puzzle and then explain what's going on towards the end of the video. And let's see how this one goes. Let's get cracking. So we've got some very good 5s around. I'm seeing 2 5s there and a 5 there. Limit 5s here. Actually, it didn't need those 2, just needed that one and that one to put a 5 in this cell. And the same is true up here. That one and that one. Put a 5 in this cell. So that one carries down to here, and we can finish off all the 5s straight away. Haven't even looked at the even digits yet. Just wondering if we can make any further assumptions. The 9s, those 2 9s, and the fact that this has to be even, restrict 9 there to those 2 cells. And up here it's in those 2 because of the 9s in rows 1 and 3. Not that helpful after that. So I'm going to do the same with 1s actually. They've got to be in column 2, 1s have to be in the top box there. Okay, that's probably as far as we're going. Oh look, 7. This is an odd digit. It's often the case when you're solving an even Sudoku that it's actually the odds that are more restricted because they can't go in the grey cells. So in box 2, that 7 that I've highlighted is preventing 7 going in those cells. This 7 down here is preventing 7 going in there, and the constraint itself is preventing 7 going in there. So 7 goes in here, and that gives us 7 here, because it, again, in column 5 now, where can 7 go in column 5? Well, none of those because they've already got a 7 in the box. Not there because there's a digit, and not here because it has to be even. So 7 goes here, and that resolves the 9 straight away. 9 must be in one of those 2, and that's quite interesting. 9 must also be in one of these 2 because it can't be in those because of that, or in there because of the even. So given that we know that 9 is in column 1 or 2 for both of those boxes, it can't be in column 1 for this box. And we can put 9 in where it belongs. Now, what we've done in the other puzzles in this series is to kind of find gatherings of even digits in one box, or sometimes a row or column. Now, the boxes don't work so well because, in fact, there's no more than one even grey cell in each box here. But in this row, we have a 2 and a 6 already placed. Therefore, the other 2 even digits must be 8 and 4. Then we've got 1, 9 and 3 to place. The 1 in this box means that the 1 in the row must be here. This must be a 9, 3 pair. We can see which way round they are because of this 3. So now we can place that 9. 7 is now looking at those 2 cells, and this is the last one that could be an odd cell. So 7 down here must be in one of those 2. Look, sorry, I put 4 and 8 as a pair in there, but we've got this 8 disambiguating those immediately, so that's quite straightforward. That's great. 8 there. This even cell is now looking at 2 over here, 6 and 8 down here. That must be a 4. This one could still be 6 or 8. Everything left in this box is even. Again, let's look at the odd digits in this box. There's only 5 cells that 1 and 3 can go in. 1 must be in one of these two because of the other ones in the grid. 3, however, could be in any of those, so not that helpful. 3 in the central box, however, is quite limited. Because of this 3 and this 3 ruling out all these 5 cells, 3 is restricted to one of those two. 2 must be down the middle because of 2 here and 2 here. That's interesting. That means that the end 2 must be 4 and 8 in some order. 3's over here. They're resolved for column 3. Must be here. That puts 3 in one of these 2 cells and in one of these 2 on the end of row 3. This even cell, no, it's not very restricted. We know it can't be 8, but that's all so far. So, what else can we find? 2 here is limited to those 2. 3 must be down there. Oh, that's, yes, 3 is interesting. Now, that 3 is ruling out that cell. So where can 3 go in column 7? Well, we worked out that it had to be in one of those 2 cells because one of those was 3. So 3 can't be in those 2, and it can't be in any of these, and it's not in that. So 3 is in fact in this cell in the row. Now that's nice because it means 7, which can't be here, must be in one of these 2. So we can place 7 in row 9. 7 in row 3 is doable as well because of all these. Yes, that puts it there, which resolves the last, not the last 3, but another 3. One of these is 3 as well. And the 3's are now forming a sort of pattern that we can't resolve yet in those 6 cells. 3 of them are 3's, but we don't know which ones. Now, 1 must be across the middle here. What else can we find to look at? Ah, 9's. Yeah, there's a lot of 9's looking into the central box. So clearly 9 in the central box. I think it might be the last 9 in the grid is there. 6, yeah, 6, it goes in the central box as well because of these placed 6's. That's very straightforward. That's interesting. It means the 6 must be up here in row 4, and that this even cell is either 2 or 4. 2 and 3 are sort of limited but not placed. Okay, so now what can we find next? No, not sure there. If we could just get any of these 3's disambiguated, we'd immediately be able to place 2 more of them. Oh, look, this column's been crying out to be finished off with a 2. That puts 2 over here. That means we've got a 7-6 pair there. 1, 4, this has to be 4 now. That's good. Okay. This is a 1-8 pair, I believe. And this one must be, 6 down here. 3, 7. One of these is 4. That's good. This is now down to 2 or 8. And the only place for 6 in column 1 is here. So that's going to put a 6 in one of those 2 cells. Yes, that 6 has decided this even cell now. That must be 8. So that's straightforward. We can finish off the row, I mean, with a 1. We've got a 2-8 pair up here. And that's going to feed across perhaps. No, we're not quite finished yet. 2, 8, 2, 4. This could be 2 or 1. Don't think it can be anything else. But this one could be 1, 4 or 8. So there are a few possibilities there. Ah, right. Yes, looking down the central column. Remember that 4, 8 pair that we put in the even cells? So with 6, 5, 9, 7, 3, that leaves 2 and 1. And this 1 allows us to fill those in. So that's useful. That 1 and that 1, remember this even constraint, it can't be 1 there. 1 is now here. And that can't be 1. 3. Right, yes, we've got, I mean, this is coming now. We've got this column, we've got to put in 2, 6, and 7. And there's some very useful numbers up here to decide how we do that. That resolves the pair at the bottom. 4 and 1 to place here. That 1 sorted that out. That 2 has resolved this 8-2 combination. That puts in this even digit there and the other one. And I think we're there again. So that one was quite neat. I think you had to do it fairly carefully in order, but it did all come together reasonably swiftly once you had the order right of attacking everything. So it was more a kind of question of progression as we went through. And now this leads us on to a finished grid. And now I can explain what's been going on with Ashish Kumar's linked Sudokus. Now the point about these Sudokus, as we explained, every single one of them as we went through worked when you had to put even digits in the grey cells. Now the extraordinary thing about these Sudokus is that you can go back to the beginning and treat all 4 as odd Sudokus, where you have to put odd digits in the grey cells, and you will get 4 solvable puzzles in a row. Now what you have to do, of course, is to solve the first one, transfer the digits from the circled cells, just as we did for the even ones, but there'll be different digits this time, into the second puzzle, and so on into the third, and so on into the fourth. And there'll be a totally different solution grid at the end of the 4 puzzles. I mean, the idea that you could construct these with a set of givens, they've all been symmetrical in some way. They've all had very nice patterns of shaded cells, and yet you can play them as entirely even Sudokus or entirely odd Sudokus. Now, little warning I'll give you is that for the odd Sudokus, they're a bit harder. Now, I might have a bit of a go at some point in future, maybe combine it into one video and do them together. But what you can do now is go back through the links to the old videos, call up the puzzles, solve them yourself, transfer the digits, go on to the next video, call up the next puzzle, and you've got 4 more puzzles to do, and fantastic puzzles at that. I think Ashish told us that Teet Vunk, who's obviously been World Sudoku Champion, solved them all in about half an hour, all 8 puzzles effectively. Now, that's not a particularly useful guide for everybody else because Teet's incredibly good. So I hear as well that one of the odd Sudokus can be best solved using a couple of jellyfish. So if you're good at that technique, you might want to try and work out which puzzle that is and how to get on with it. One further thing I'm going to offer you is that if you do get the 2 solutions to the grid, obviously one of them's shown here, but if you get the solution to the odd Sudoku's 4th puzzle, if you overlay that with this solution, you'll find that only some of the digits repeat, and if you overlay those repeated digits onto this grid, which says this linked Sudoku group was put together 2 years ago by Ashish Kumar, you'll get our reaction to his feat in setting these puzzles. I do know that in one of the comments to the first video, I think Jorge Nunez put up that he knew what the puzzle set was about and it was great. I hope you didn't see that spoiler. There have been some interesting guesses about what we were going to reveal about the puzzles at the end since then, and I hope you think that's worth it. Whether you are minded to go back and solve the puzzles or not as odd Sudokus, do be aware that this constructing feat is phenomenal. Now, Ashish Kumar himself has his own Patreon website where he releases a number of puzzles every month to those who subscribe at various levels, and he is raising money for the Indian homeless fighting COVID-19. I mean, there could hardly be a better cause than that. So do feel free to look up his site. Again, the link's below the video. And thank you very much for following this series. Thank you for watching, as always, on Cracking the Cryptic. And do stay safe. We wish you all the very best. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.